morning, Judy.
Morning, Susan.
Happy Memorial Day.
Happy Memorial Day. I don't know if we can say Happy Memorial Day, but happy,
Well,
beautiful day in Florida.
yes. And interestingly, if you want to know what the origin of Memorial Day was, you have to go all the way back to the end of the Confederate War. And in a community, there were a group of Black freedmen that took it upon themselves to decorate a gravesite, graveyard. And so the original Memorial Day was called Decoration Day. So just Google Decoration Day and you'll get the scoop there on the origins.
I
So
remember learning
everybody,
something of that in elementary school in Ohio.
yeah,
Many.
I was not aware of that. You always learn something new. And folks, we're here today to give you the new information on what's happened to the real estate market in Sarasota and Manatee counties for April of 2025. We're going to approach this a little bit different today. We're going to give you that information and compare it to Florida overall and what's happening in the nation because interestingly enough, what we've seen happen in our area because we needed such a huge correction. We are now trending with a lot of the element stats in Florida and the US. So we're going to do our best to make that comparison for you. So I'm going to start off with Sarasota County. Sarasota County has shown us that the statistics for sales were at 817 in April, which was really no change from March, but it was a change that we saw, not much, 0.7% increase year over to year. And then what we saw condo and townhome sales was a decrease. And we all know that this is happening. The decrease from March was 2.6, not much, but it went down to 375 from 385 in March and 13% year over year from 2024. The single family median price went up just just a little bit in Sarasota to 470,000. In March, it was 469,450. The condo prices went down year over year, 14.9, 15%, down to 339,500. And from last month, it was 340,000, so not much difference in that condo median price. The inventory in Sarasota from year over year went up to 7 months, a 37% increase year over year. And what we saw from March, it was just slightly lower in March. So just not even a 1% increase from March in the inventory. The supply right now, being 7 months, puts us firmly in a buyer's market. So the condo sale inventory firmly puts us into a buyer's market with 9.6% increase from last year and a 6.9% increase from March. Time to contract, 43 days, still in the 40s, a little bit of an increase from March. We see time to sale at 82 days, same as March. We have a a still strong cash buyer market with single family homes being 46% cash buys, and in the condos, 67% cash
Wow,
buyers. Wow.
that's significant.
That
Yes.
is, that is, yeah. So that indicates to me a lot of investor activity out there. I'll get into the national picture and the Florida picture in a minute. Judy, let's talk about Manatee County.
All righty. So in April of 2025, Manatee County reported 672 single-family home sales, a 1.9% decrease year over year. March closed sales for comparison were 668, so pretty similar within 4 of the year last month. The median sales price decreased 12.5% year over year to $464,000. March median sales price was $506,317, so it's about an 8% decrease month to month. Cash buyers accounted for 29.9% of all closed sales for single family homes, so not as strong as Sarasota. Manatee County ended April 2025 with 3,251 active listings, representing a 5.2 month supply of inventory, so inching closer to that balanced seller buyer market. March active listings, just for comparison, was 3,256, so just 5 off. So pretty similar for our active listings. So we're not seeing more and more. The median time to contract increased slightly from the last month to 50 days, while the median time to sale decreased slightly to 92 days. Time to contract in March was 46, and time to sale was 95 days. So still kind of similar. Overall summary, according to Debbie Reynolds, managing broker and our 2025 RAISM Real Estate Association of Sarasota Manatee president, she says the single-family home markets in both Sarasota and Manatee counties are showing encouraging signs of stabilization. I think that's the word for the summer. While we're seeing natural correction from the record highs of recent years, the steady pace of sales and the more moderate growth in inventory indicate a return to healthier market conditions. So in April of 2025 for Manatee County, on our condo and townhome sales, Manatee recorded 273 townhome and condo sales, a 1.1 decrease year over year, so not huge. The median sales price fell 14.8% to $300,220, with a 50.5% of those being cash purchases. Again, like Sarasota County, a significant portion. Again, probably more investors or people who've just been waiting and saving to do that second summer or winter fun spot. Inventory held relatively constant from March 2025 with 1,817 active listings and an 8.2 month supply, clearly in the buyer's favor. The median time to contract stayed relatively consistent at 63 days, while the median time to sale decreased to 98 days. The condo and townhome market is showing more pronounced price softening, primarily due to steady increase in inventory. Again, a quote from our RAISM president. This means buyers have more negotiating power, but it also challenges sellers to be strategic, ensuring their properties are priced competitively and well presented. And I'll tell you, the people that said, well, let's try the higher price for a few months or a few weeks to see where it goes, and then they lost all their momentum. So price it correctly. Overall, the April 2025 data reflects a market in transition and correction, characterized by stabilizing inventory, softening prices, and steady sales activities. As buyers and sellers navigate these evolving conditions, working with your trusted realtor, that's us, is more important than ever.
The comparison of the year over year, if you took one look at that, I was showing my neighbor the other day, and it was a little startling to see those decreases in sales, in price, etc. But then when you throw in those comparisons from the month previous, it settles things down and helps you understand that stabilization process. Let's look at those Florida stats because that brings it all home. and shows us where our trends are starting to normalize. We've had um, a huge correction to make because of our desirable area. When we look at the statewide closed sales, we've seen a decrease of 4.5% year over year. And what we saw, you know, in our closed sales in Sarasota was no change from March, but very little change from year over year. Whereas in Manatee, a slight change in March, but pretty much stable from last year, right? Is that what you're seeing?
Yes. Yep.
Okay. And then statewide for condo sales, it's a decrease, 14.8% decrease. That's just what we're seeing as
Hmm.
some large decreases in the number of sales. Okay, so the decrease in the median home sales price in Sarasota County showed a 13% decrease, whereas overall in the state, it was only 4% decrease. When you consider the difference, the gap that we had in correction, that makes sense. The condo median price went down 6%. No more needs to be said about that. Inventory went up 2.7% in Florida, which goes with our inventory increase month over month and year over year in both counties.
Yep.
And we see that's what that inventory increase is what's going to make the difference for the buyer in the market.
So in national sales, um, for single family home closed sales, most regions were down. Areas of the South were flat. Condo towns home sales were slower in all regions, which we're seeing. Housing inventory for the end of April was 1.45 million units, up 9% from March and 20% from 1 year ago. Unsold inventory sits at a 4.4 month supply, and current sales pace up from 4 months, from 4.0 months, 4 months, I can't talk, in March and 3.5 months in April. So it is growing, the inventory and the shifting of the markets. Median existing home price for all housing types in April was 414,000 nationally, up 1.8% from a year ago, which is interesting. Northeast and Midwest posted price increase, and the South and West registered price decrease. So that's interesting. I know my family in Northern Ohio, they don't have enough inventory, so they're
No,
having price bidding and challenges on the market. I have some family members that are looking or currently in the market, and it's surprising. Now their prices aren't as high as down here, so that has something to do with it too. And so, yeah, the overall month supply is growing kind of like here. So we're starting to look like the rest of the country for a change.
right. Yeah. So just like you look at the national picture in a regional perspective, you have to look at our market. And even from Sarasota to Manatee and within Sarasota and Manatee counties, hyper local for
Yes,
our real estate market. So
yes,
that's so much information. If
that's
you
a
have
lot.
any
It's a lot. Yeah.
questions,
And
you
it's hard.
know,
It's hard to explain those micro markets. I had somebody that came to town last week, and they're like, "Well, just tell me where to go look at first. I'm not ready to buy. I just want to feel the area out." And I'm like, it's hard to just tell you where to go because there are so many differences, even East Manatee County versus the coastal Manatee County,
oh,
or
sure. Yeah,
just into Hillsborough County, and then South Sarasota County is very different feeling than the downtown area. So
right.
yeah, we have a lot of very specific markets or specific trends within those markets. It's kind of crazy.
Well, you hope that your buyers have been down here a couple of times, but when you have a newbie,
A newbie is
that's
all
when you
over the
really need
place.
a realtor that's hyper local focused like Judy
Yeah,
and I are.
yeah, crazy.
So
Oh,
there's,
hey, talk about hyper local market forecast. Can I do a shout out to my new friend in Publix the other day?
Oh, sure, do it.
Oh, hi, Kaylee, and thank you for stopping and saying hi. And I also met Will the other day in public, so you never know who you're going to find out, who's watching the videos. It's kind of fun. So thank you for stopping and saying hi.
Oh, and the rest of you, please subscribe. We find a lot of our viewers are not subscribers. We need those numbers to keep our project going here. And what
Yes.
we want to do is share local information with you and make sure you've got the facts. So subscribe and like and comment on this video, and we'll see you soon. Bye-bye.
Bye-bye.